Hello and welcome to another episode of Vanilla City Skylines, where we are building the city of Minoqua Bay. Last episode we worked on building out these orange groves and our farming industry, as well as starting our first public transit network with our trams. We also worked on changing the look of some of these neighborhoods into European suburbia, just to give them a more realistic feel. In today's special episode, we are going to work on building out our historic downtown as well as expanding our highway infrastructure. So the first thing we're going to do is our highway infrastructure, just to make sure that we can fit it in without disturbing what our historic downtown from the colonial era would have been. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and grab a one-way highway with sound barriers. And I want to make sure that I have a distance of one tile between all of these short little things that we're placing. And I'm going to come off of road guideline. Let's see if I can center this. And I can't quite center it. That's fine. It's not a big deal. So we're going to bring this up to the gravel road. And now I'm going to delete the gravel road and connect these in to our highway, which we're going to split the highway in two. One just feeds directly into what will be our actual downtown, our American style downtown. And one is just going to sit around, it's going to kind of loop around, and I think it will function well as an industrial highway. Cool, so I won't, oh, that's why you won't. So we need to upgrade these into 4-lane highways right here, just because we are splitting 2 lanes and 2 lanes, and we don't want to cause any horrendous traffic jams with the merging of this highway. I think I'm going to change this as well, because that does not look very pretty. Alright. So now we need to focus on how this highway is going to split. So I'm going to bring this out a little bit just to give us some room. I'm going to take this 2-way highway. First off, change the direction. I'm going to have the right side be the part that veers off to the right. And then we're going to have this section be the section that goes up. 2, 3. So that should give us enough space to cross. And let me emphasize that it should. It may not end up doing that. Which actually, while I'm thinking about it, it might be a good idea to have this bow out, just because we are likely going to encounter some issues with the terrain if we keep the highway as dense as it previously was. So we're going to use the same technique to get our alignment right, where we're using the gravel road as kind of a marker for our one-way highways to feed in right here. Cool. So I'm going to flatten this out and kind of start arcing it a little bit. I'm going to use the slope terrain right click so that we can have a nice smooth gradient up to where this is going to connect. Very nice. I'm going to take this. We're going to arc it this way. And we're just going to create a small little tunnel. Now we're going to come back, level out the terrain over here, so that we have a place for this highway to come out. We may have to come a little bit that way, that's fine. And now I'm going to take this and bring it up to the coast. Which this will be the launching pad for the bridge infrastructure that we will build. So we're going to place that there, come over by 1. Now we're going to use our curve tool, hook up to this road guideline, and then try to make this as smooth as we can. Which I think we can do better than that. So I'm just going to take that. I'm going to do the same technique. I think, nope, that's not going to do it for us. Let's try this again. One last time, and hopefully this time it works. Okay, so that's pretty close. Yeah, I think that'll work. I think that'll work just nicely. And now we're going to take this and level it out. Actually, I think I want to come to this point right here. Just gonna flatten this out. Right click there and slope up. We're just going to bring both of these straight up, and we will begin to curve that in a moment. So now what I want to do is I want to create a flat area for where this European style historic downtown is going to be. So I'm going to come at, I think this will be a nice height for this little village to sit on. We're going to flatten this area out just to make sure that we have a nice flat surface for everything to sit on. Just kind of at the mouth of the bay. Very nice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start to create a little bit of a canal structure. So we're going to come at this height and cut in. And now we're going to have this kind of split in two. Come along here. just to give us some nice waterfront and opportunities for detailing a waterfront. So let's speed this up a little bit so that the water can come in a little bit more efficiently. Cool. So while that's working, I'm going to come out here and work on building up our bridge. So I think we're going to just see, it's not quite level. That's pretty close. I'll pause that temporarily. And make sure that we have our directionality correct on our tunnel. Very nice. And I think pausing the game while you build out these bridges is a good idea, just to help make them as flat as possible. It's going to come out by 20 again. And that's really about as far as we want to come over water. So we're going to flatten this out. Actually, instead of doing that, let's just take where we were at, just a tiny, tiny little bit higher. We're going to flatten that out on this side of the bay. And then come back down and connect in. That's not what we want. Let's shift this over a little bit. See if that will act a little kinder to us. Nope. Let's let the simulation run. Maybe there's a water issue that's causing that. That's better. Cool. So now we have our basic canal structure in. I'm going to come to our content creator pack keys. I'm going to use the tiered seawall. Just try to come out as straight as I can. On both sides. And then just connect in. So now we're just going to try to follow along this key is, or follow along the shoreline as best as we can. Which I think I'm going to do. So we're just going to try and straighten it out a little bit, rather than respecting this curve that we put in. So I'm just going to place a small dirt road just to sit along the quay temporarily. And actually, I saw that we were almost maxing out our death care. So just before I get distracted completely and forget to do this, let's go ahead and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here to the building collapse, not the tornado, so that we can destroy that cemetery and just rebuild it. I'm going to do the same for the other cemetery over here. Building collapse. Pause temporarily. Place in new cemetery. And now we're not going to have a massive death wave while we build out this historic downtown. So we're going to come out and just match up to the road guideline. We'll see if this lets us. It won't. That's fine. At least not yet. So now we're just going to straighten this out a little bit. Try to make that match. All that flooding is just temporary. It'll be fine. So let's just level this out a little bit. See if that fixes our problem. Oop. Could also be helpful if we use the right key. That is always helpful. And we're just going to hug along this shoreline. As best as we can. Then bring this over to be the end of the key. Very nice. On this side, we are going to respect the curve a little bit. So we're going to use the same technique where we have the gravel road. I'm just going to kind of curve it along as best as I can. And we're going to come back to our content creator pack keys. Come to the first road guideline and curve it. And now we want to make sure that this key wall is lined up over here so that we can line it up nicely over here. And come over here, kind of straighten that out a little bit. Now we're going to come to the curve, hook that in. And like I said, on this end of the village, we're going to stick a lot closer to the shoreline. Cool. So now let's make sure that we have exposed all of our tiered seawall. You know, just to make sure that everything looks nice. Cool. All right. So now we're going to get rid of these little dirt roads. And I'm going to start by pausing the game. We're going to build out some pedestrian roads. And the reason I'm choosing pedestrian roads is because with the way that we're going to zone a lot of the buildings in this area, it would cause a lot of traffic jams because there would be so many intersections that are close together. And it would also make a lot more sense from a historical perspective for this to be done with pedestrian roads anyways, because they would not have had cars when this would have been built. So let's hug along the key temporarily. We're gonna hug along right here as well. And I think, we'll make sure that we're hugging the key as much as we can. With our pedestrian roads. So I think here, come into that guideline and try and curve it. No, that looks terrible. Just go as far down as it lets us go. Just about there. And now try curving it. It's better. It's still not quite what I want. Which I think we can just get away with doing this. Maybe? Yeah, we'll see. So the centerpiece of this area is going to be the cathedral, which I think is based on the Cathedral Notre Dame in Paris. Oh my. This grading is awful. Awful, 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 awful. Alright. Alright, so we're going to come back with the curve. Come down to there. And then this is just straight the whole way. Alright. Actually, I wonder, could we just curve into this? I think we can. I'm gonna come to the road guideline, curve that there. There, that's not awful. So we're gonna come there, back to the Cathedral Notre Dame, which is, it would have been the centerpiece in this village, considering the time frame that this would have been built in. And I'm also going to use the Plaza of the Dead right out front of Notre Dame. We're going to use some gravel paths, come off-road guideline, just to kind of help extend this asset a little bit. I think, do we have, no, we definitely don't have enough space for a rock feature here. That's fine. We can just use some of these boulders out front. Come in with a tiny bit of overgrowth. Come on. There we go. Use some of these smaller rocks, kind of like we've been doing. And then let's come to our content creator trees, and we're going to use the date palms just along the side of this. Just within the frame of our pedestrian street. And we'll frame it on this side as well. Maybe have some flowers over here. think that could be really nice. Now we're going to come behind the cathedral with a path and just hook it in. And now we're going to come back to road guidelines. I think here is about where that wants to curve in. And I think we can have a little garden right here. Or we could even, let's see what kind of plazas we have available that we can use that aren't too freaking modern. That one's really modern. What about a flower plaza? 2 flower plazas? That's not too crazy. We can come around again with some dirt paths, come off a road guideline. And just kind of frame the back of this. And then just try to hook in over here. And what we'll do here is we're going to use these Pacific rhododendrons and create a nice little flower bed. Make sure that we get all of this as flowers. Nice. We'll do that again on this side. I don't think I'm going to do that on the back side of this. You know, just to make sure that we have some variation in what we're doing in terms of decorating. And so one thing about the European high density zoning that we're going to be using is that it kind of acts as an old style wall-to-wall specialization. However, there aren't a ton of assets that you get with it, and you know, you have to be really careful and make sure that everything has a very straight line to it. So I think we're going to come out, let's see. I don't think I'm gonna like that. Let's come out by, say, 10. Just do a little 10 by 10 block. Then come back in and finish out our flower bed. And we're gonna be very specific with the zoning that we choose to use in this area. So just temporarily, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build a temporary power line, and we will move the power line as we expand out this little European downtown. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to just kind of bring out a dirt road right there just to get us a little extra power, because I'm sure we're going to end up needing it soon. We're going to use the geothermal plant. That also will be very much a temporary thing. And we also want to make sure that we have water pipes. And we will have to paint out a pedestrian area as well. Alright, so I'm going to get the basics of this set up right quick, and we will be right back. Alright, we are back. So basically what I just did is I just connected in some power, super temporary water line, and I also came over here to place a small pedestrian area service point, just as a placeholder. We will probably use something different once we get this built, but just temporarily we want to make sure that we have our basic services provided so that our buildings do not abandon. Which, speaking of, we do need to make sure that we have a cemetery available, which I think behind our cathedral would be a good place. Which, again, we're going to want to box in. Alright. So, the first zoning that we're going to do is some residential zoning because we have quite a bit of demand for it, as you see down here. So I'm going to come in with a 3x2 and a 2x3 on these corners, and these should spawn the asset that I'm looking for. Let's see if it does. Ooh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to paint this out and give it the European theme. We're just going to paint out this small area, and we're going to continue to extend it as we build it out. Just going to use the European theme. Yes, this is the asset that we are looking for. Now let's see what we have here. So I believe right here we're going to do a 2x2. Just see if that brings in what I want. Yes, we like that. We'll make that historical and then just come in with a 1x1. We're gonna continue that zoning pattern all around here. So that will be how this block is zoned, and we want to make sure we don't want two of those right next to each other. Actually, I wonder, we think of maybe having a 3x2 here instead. I believe that'll still zone a French-looking asset. Yes. So now we have our first European block, very old style looking, and doesn't actually look that bad, especially considering that this is vanilla. And what we're going to want to do is we're just going to come in with some greenery. I think some of our California king palms. Touch of overgrowth. Uh-oh. Someone wasn't made historical. And I'll show you why you want to make these historical, because these solar panels are not very characteristic of an old town look. So let's pause this right quick, make sure that we make everything historical, so that we don't get any solar panels on our 500-year-old buildings. And that one building should come back in really quickly. Just because there's a limited amount of assets in this style, I think it makes it so that you know, we can zone in the correct buildings quickly. So I'm going to put a 3x3 on the corner. I think we will make this a slightly larger block. Always got to be a problem child, don't you? I'm going to extend this back out. I think we'll make this be a slightly larger block. So that would be 12 units with 3x3 corners. Let's see what we get in. And of course, need to extend the district. Can already tell that's going to be the theme of today's episode. Extend the district, which is what I'm going to be constantly forgetting, as well as making buildings historical. Alright, so you're historical, you're historical, you're historical, you are historical. So now I want to kind of experiment. Let's see what we can get with some 2x4 zoning in this. I think we can get a really nice asset. Just have to make sure that it comes in. That's not the one I want. Why are we bleeding money? Okay. Probably just spending a lot of money on this, which is fine. There we go. This is the asset we are looking for. Right here. Now we're going to come in with 3x2. That is exactly what we are looking for. Let's do another... Yeah, let's do a 2x4 here. You're not correct. It's always such a fun game of whack-a-mole trying to get the right asset to come in. Well, you're not exactly what I was planning for, but yeah, I think this one will work. Now let's try actually coming in as the correct asset this time. You are not the correct asset. You're still not the correct asset. Still not correct. There we go. That one is correct. Check and make sure everything is historical. Yes, it is. Alright, so now we are complaining about crime. Surprise, surprise. So let's come in with police headquarters. I think we can fit that right there. And then we're going to come to our road guideline, which apparently isn't going to do much. And again, we're going to use gravel path. And we'll find some decorating opportunity there. So that should cover us for police coverage. Very nice. What do we think of doing a 1x1 there, maybe a 4x3 here? Let's see what that generates. So the 4x3, I believe, is only going to be that asset. Okay. So then we'll just do maybe a 2x3 and a 2x2. See what that gets us. 2x2 we like. 2x3 we also like. So let's remember that over here. We like the 2x3. Which I think for this one we'll do the 2x3 in the center and then our 1x1s right next to it. Because these one-by-one little buildings are so charming. I like them. No! No solar panels! Solar panels are not allowed. Yeah, we'll have to destroy that. Really got to stay on top of these things just to make sure that everything is what it's supposed to be. So now I wonder, do we have... We do have Old Market Street. Let's see. Yeah, that's a really nice asset to have right here. So let's make sure that we extend our water service over here. And down here. Let's see. Make sure that's correct. So we're just going to come over here. Just to make sure that we are up against the waterfront the way we want to be. And don't believe this asset. No, it will not. So let's come just to angle snap for now. All right. Let's see what other European assets we can bring in that have kind of an ancient feel to them. We don't want them to be very brand new. What about this academic library? No, that's too modern. Actually, I think this sea fortress would be a good asset to have around here. We'll place that in later. We'll just remember to place that along our coastline. About lungs of the city. I don't know, let's take a look at it. Yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah. So come back to all of our snapping. Come around, hook in. So this is another area where we are potentially going to run into some problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the road guidelines. We're going to make just a small block. We're going to use our 2x2 zonings right here. And this will only generate some cornered assets. Ooh. Well, we can make that work. That's not too unrealistic. I don't think, at least. Uh-oh. We have a fire. Let's get a historic fire station in somewhere. We don't need the lungs of the city. We will be fine without it. But we do need a fire station. That fire station should probably be right there. Where we can come around just like that. Whoops. Well, this is why you make sure that you have all of your city services when you're building. We'll make that historical. And now we'll come in and zone the rest of that in. So that we now have this nice little block. I think we might be able to get away with doing something here. Let's see. Well, that's not quite the one I wanted, but... that one is my absolute least favorite asset. So we can get that. If we can get that asset to come in, we will be set. Let's see, are you going to give us the correct asset now? Sweet. So now let's come in, just kind of zone these and we'll see what comes in. I don't like you. Not the asset I'm looking for. We don't want solar panels. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. Again, I don't like this asset. I don't know, that one just looks too much, it looks too much like it's from, like, a fairy tale, for me, at least. There we go. So I think we will do one more of our super blocks over here. Let's see what opportunities await us. So 3x2, 2x3. Make sure that we don't get those assets. Okay. Which one over here did we not get to use much of? I don't remember if there's a 3x3 that I like. So we also have to make sure that we're avoiding parking lots forming as well. So that would be super uncharacteristic of this area that we are building. Now we'll put in some 1x1 zonings. And as they come in, we make them historical. Very nice. So let's see what we have here. Yeah, we'll have some opportunity for some of the 2x2 zoning to come in, which we can place just right along that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a flood wall. And this will act as kind of like the wall for the castle that you see around some of the historic European city centers. I want to make sure that we are getting good assets coming in. I don't want you facing that direction, if it is at all avoidable. That's better. Although I don't really want a long row of that, so let's pause the game right quick. I'm gonna make that a 2x2, make that a 2x2. Gonna make that a 2x2. Oh, and they're all facing the wrong direction. That's nice. So you need to turn around. And you need to turn around. And you also need to turn around. So let's make sure that everything is facing the correct direction. That'll be fine. No, that will not. You're facing the wrong direction. Wrong direction, wrong direction. now we're going to get a 2x2 right here. See here, citizens are not feeling well because of noise pollution. Okay. So we'll just get rid of that. We will make this office zoning instead. Nope, no solar panels. Historical. All right. So that will complete that little section. I think I'm going to take the flood wall, bring it down this way too. And have that kind of round out that side as well. It'll be where we end the zoning for this. So we'll come down, probably make that as far as we go. And where is that? It's right here. So that's a little too close. That's fine. Just come one over and bring it there. It's weird that that's not coming down in a straight line, but let's try following this and see if that fixes it. That's better. And as you can kind of see, it does kind of act as a natural barrier. Well, it's not really a natural barrier, but you get what I'm trying to say. No! Solar panels! Get rid of the solar panels, please. Alright, you're gonna come in, we're gonna make you historical. Before we make me hysterical. Cool. So let's bring this out and we'll make an iteration of whatever this grid ends up being. So it looks like it could be a 3x3. Or it could be a 2x2. Let's do a 2x2 instead. And are you going to come in as European assets? No, you are not. So we'll make you historical, make you historical, make you historical. And we will give you water pipes. More noise pollution. Well, we will come by and fix that in a minute. So let's do a 2x4 here. Nope, not what we're looking for. Nope. We're not gonna have parking lots. I'm about to give them window view of a window. So let's do 2x3 instead. We'll do you as a 1x1, do you as a 2x2. 2x2. 2x3, 1x1. And already this is starting to look like a little European village. Its own historic market street. Absolutely loving the architecture on this. So they're at least getting taken care of as far as the noise pollution, but we do want to make sure that we have some kind of a medical clinic available to them. So hook that in there. Hook that in there. Hook you in there. No! And it gave me solar panels. For a second there, I thought it wouldn't. That's fine. That is fine. So now let's work on, because these are walkable seawalls. So let's work on getting some paths connected to them so that our Sims can walk on our seawalls. We'll also come through and try to get an extra layer of concrete over here. Just to kind of, it'll help us get some pedestrian activity along the quays, I believe, and it will also help us to kind of decorate this a little bit. Always use a little bit more concrete in these areas. Very nice. So now let's check out what zoning opportunities we have over here, and I think I'm going to just extend this down the length of the quay. We also want to incorporate some parks in here as well. So I think we'll place down just a small park right there. We also want to, jeez, this zoning is awful. see what we can do to fix our zoning. Maybe have that be a block. That can be a block. You can be a block. Well, could have been. What is wrong with this thing? So let's rip this out temporarily. Rip that out. Let's come to our road guidelines. Just make sure that we are hugging along the key, which we are. Then we'll have a small little curve. Neat. Oh, you're where the zoning is getting screwed up. We have found the culprit. That is not the slightest bit straight. Maybe come there. Okay, I see what's going on. So our zoning is getting messed up because that is not quite level. Or quite even. So what we're going to do is we're just going to try to get some of our zoning in. I think we'll just do a 10 by 10 right there. Then can have a little park. Then we'll just kind of experiment with zoning abilities there. Okay. So that makes sense now. We'll just extend you down, extend you down. We can decorate this area, I think. That would be fine. So let's come in with some commercial on this side. And I think we'll do a 3 by 3 right here. And of course, make sure that we extend our district. And also make sure that we extend our water pipes. That could be very important. Now we're going to come in with 2 by 3 on all sides of this. Which again is just helping us get different buildings in our little European village. Let's come off of all the snapping. Just so that we can bring all of this down. Yeah, I think it would be nice to have a pedestrian bridge coming across this. Maybe we can experiment with it. All right, so over here, let's turn our snapping back on. That hurts a little bit. That's fine. So we just won't zone along this at all. That's fine. So we'll bring in some 2x2s on either side. What are we doing? Alright, so that should help us fix this problem. And then we'll do some 4x2. Alright. And then we'll come back here. And let's get in a 3x2. See what that gets us. And then we'll just do a 1x1. Dang it. Well, at least it's not giving us the solar panels, but we do want to make sure that we are making these buildings historical as they come in. Because they will upgrade fairly quickly if we don't. So I'm going to continue this zoning pattern along this side, and we will be right back. Alright, so we finished zoning up this side, which took forever. But I have discovered this office building that I really, really enjoy. It's a 4x2 office zoning, which is not available as residential, but it's fine. You'll find a lot of the buildings in the European theme actually are repeated across the residential, commercial, and office space. Yeah, so I'm gonna zone this last one. I also came in and extended this wall around the city all the way up to the end, and I think we're getting a little ugliness over here in our terraforming, which we can come in and fix right quick. We also probably want to do that over here for our sea fortress, which also would have been something historically seen in one of these ancient settlements. I just placed it along the coast and then just hooked up our little pathway network, pedestrian roads, just because it needs that. I also came around and extended the wall around here with an entrance right here, kind of in the center. And you can kind of get a nice glimpse of the back of the cathedral from this view as well. So now we're just going to come in and zone up some of this other space. which actually I think right here would be a good... Oh, right, you can't overlap those. So I was going to make this odd shape into a city park, which would have been fantastic. There's one small problem. You can't overlap a pedestrian area and a park life area, which is very, very unfortunate. But it is what it is. You can see our land value over here in this area is really, really high. And that is partially because it is a pedestrian area, but also because we've added in some unique buildings as well as some really nice landscaping. We also added in this clock tower, the London Big Benjamin, I believe is what this is. Just to kind of keep with the European theme. They would definitely have had a clock tower over here, or maybe closer to the cathedral. So let's come in and zone this up, and we're going to keep a lot of our zoning as residential. And anywhere that we see this fractured zoning, we'll just make that kind of like a garden. Come here as well. I think what we can do here is we can line this little couplet with some palm trees. Take some date palms just through the center of this. And have a nice decorated couplet. So this is going to be a gardening area. This right here we will do as commercial. So with this commercial area, we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. 3x2, 2x3, 3x2, 2x3. And it generates this asset that I just absolutely adore. And over here, I'm just going to do some 2x2. Come in, extend our water. I think we're really going to focus on making this area be very commercially focused. We do also want to be sure that we are keeping this as an residential focused place. Very nice. So right here at the entrance, we will make this be residential. And again, we're going to do the same corners that we like to do in this area with the 2x3. And if you're curious at looking into you know, just what different kind of zonings you can get with these buildings and what those buildings will look like, I believe there's I want to say it's like Paradox Wiki or something like that. That's where I found all of this information at. And I think I've really benefited from knowing, okay, this is the specific zoning that I need so that I can get this specific building within this pattern, just because with European zoning you have to be very specific, otherwise you can get assets that you're really not wanting to mix together. Very nice. We'll detail this up later. So let's come along this wall. Just kind of hug the wall as much as we can. I think we can probably get rid of this earthquake sensor. I'm going to hug the wall on this side as well. so that we can now come in and create some blocks. So we also want to think about some city services. We have our medical center right here. Do not believe we have a cemetery, do we? Yes, we do. What else could we need? We have a medical clinic. We have a fire station. We have a police station. I went ahead and placed in an elementary school over here. University could be nice, but we are going to build up a College of Liberal Arts probably very soon. Around the time that we unlock our 14,000 is probably going to be when we introduce the College of Liberal Arts. So yeah, let's see what kind of zoning we can get with this. So along here, we're going to continue residential. That will be some kind of a parkland type place. Let's see if we can hug along this key at all. So we can get some zoning there. Come in there. Get some zoning there. And the thing about European downtowns and high-density areas is you're not going to stick to a rigid grid because, historically speaking, everything formed around a city center, which was typically a church, and it just kind of expanded out from there. So what I'm going to do, we're going to get rid of these power lines. We're not going to need them anymore. Let's just do another something there. That can be something. This could be a grid. And I'm not focusing too heavily on how everything is lining up. It is very much very random how this village is coming together. And that's fine, because it also leaves us spaces that we can just kind of detail up. Yeah, I don't think we want to cut that there. So like I said, that can be just, these can be gardens over here. So let's make sure that we are extending out our electricity, and just make sure that the electricity will sink through. So let's see. Ooh. Forgot about that. So let's just come around the wall temporarily. We'll place that right there. And also make sure that we extend out our district. Okay, so we're gonna get that one in this area, that's fine. So we're gonna need something to come into this square. I think, let's see, we can fit that, and that should sink the power through, and it does. And so we'll just come and extend this asset using a gravel path, and have that gravel path just run right alongside our pedestrian street. Very nice. Did we make these historical? Yes, we did. So here I'm probably just gonna stick with some 2 deep zoning along this. And then those will be our corner assets. Well, they will be corner assets. Cannot emphasize how much I hate this purple thing. But yeah, I'm gonna continue playing whack-a-mole with this building and finish zoning out this side. You know, using the same kind of idea where we're gonna hug along this maybe and make sure that we're getting some kind of a grid that we can zone this, and then where we don't, we'll have some space for decorating. Alright, so we have just hit 9,000 in population, which unlocks level 6 unique buildings, train, monorail, cable cars, whole bunch of new policies, and a lot of new buildings, including some underground metro stations, which we will incorporate into this area. So let's just find a place where we can fit this. I think that's not going to be an ideal location. This could be an okay place for it. You know, basically right at the entrance of where our pedestrian area starts. We also are going to want to get one of those over here as well. Where's a good place? Maybe here? I think that could be a good place. It's not really anywhere near any residential zone. Where else would we maybe want one of these? We'd probably stand to have one of these in our agriculture area. And we can connect that later. So I'm just finishing up our zoning, and I did not mean to make that historical. That's not the building I want. So let's speed this up so we can get in the buildings that we want. Which is not you. Sorry. Is this going to be another one of those difficult spots? So there's one over here where it would only grow these. So what I did was I just took a gravel path right in between them and just kind of decorated the inside. I'm thinking that maybe what this is going to do to me, which I really don't want, but you know, we may have to suffer with it. Even though I absolutely don't want it in this area. So while those are just coming in, I had an idea. And I think I'm going to start incorporating some of our seaside resorts and hotels in some of these smaller spaces. Which I think can function a little bit as some of our historical mansions. So we can use the Breakers Hotel, whatever that one is. I think the ocean view is a little bit too long for what we're going for. Maybe squeeze in the Atlantic Hotel. That would be a good one. And as you can see, it's bringing in some new looks. Let's kind of shift this over this way a little bit. I don't want the skyscrapers. At least not yet. Not in this area. So that's a seaside thing. That's way too far out. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, I don't mind that. I think that looks nice over there. Let's see if we want to use any of these other hotels. It's kind of along this back wall where we have some zoning that is just awful. Coast Guard Heritage Museum, maybe? The good thing about these hotels is they don't produce any noise pollution. You were just gonna insist on being difficult, aren't you? I'll pretend that that's fine. So I guess we're just gonna let these be historical, and like I said, we will just come through the gravel path. Around here. That's fine. We'll just take a couple of these trees, put those right there. And you can also see that we have some abandoned buildings, which I'm not really too worried about. They're just office and commercial zoning, which I think that was to be expected in this area. It's a lot more of a residential focus, which we have. Have we unlocked? Yes, we have unlocked our residential zone landmark, which we can place, I would say, probably somewhere else in the city. But yeah, that's pretty much all for our historic city center. And I'm going to jump into some detailing, and we will be right back. thank y'all so much for watching and helping us get to 100 subscribers. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe below, and we will look at doing another one of these special episodes once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So just taking a look, we can see how making sure we were very specific with our zoning has really helped to improve the look of these European assets, as well as creating some of these super blocks. Oh, I hate that asset so much. And you can very clearly see that I forgot to make something historical. There we go. That's the right asset. We can also see how using some of our seaside resorts and hotels really adds to this historic downtown feel that we are going for in this area. So I think next episode we will look into connecting this to this main road. And we will also be expanding out our highway infrastructure, and possibly if we can get to enough population, I think in the next couple of episodes we will be building out our College of Liberal Arts. But we do have enough population for us to build out our cargo network, which we will go ahead and start working on in the next episode. And now enjoy a brief city tour.